Dear Santa, I don't want eyes this year. I just want a daddy for my mommy. She works so hard and sometimes she cries. The letter was meant for the North Pole. Instead, it landed on the desk of billionaire Nathan Cole, a man who had everything except someone to come home to. What made him visit that small-town bakery? And what did he find when he got there? This is the story of a letter that found exactly who it was meant for. Chloe Thompson was 6 years old, and she had a very important mission. Every year, the kids in her class wrote letters to Santa. They asked for dolls and video games and bikes with streamers. They asked for puppies and princess dresses and the latest toys from TV commercials. Chloe didn't want any of those things. She sat at the tiny desk in her bedroom, the one her mom had painted purple because it was her favorite color, and chewed on her crayon thoughtfully. Through the thin walls, she could hear her mother moving around in the bakery downstairs, preparing for tomorrow's orders, even though it was almost midnight. Mom always worked late. Mom always looked tired. And sometimes, when Chloe was supposed to be asleep, she heard Mom crying in the kitchen. Chloe didn't understand everything about being a grown-up, but she understood that her mom was sad, and that made Chloe sad too. She picked up her red crayon and began to write. Dear Santa, my name is Chloe. I am 6. I am a good girl mostly except when I eat cookies before dinner, but Mom doesn't know about that. I don't want toys this year. I have enough toys. What I really want is a daddy. Not for me, for Mommy. She works really hard at the bakery and she never buys anything for herself, and sometimes she cries when she thinks I'm sleeping. I think she's lonely. I had Daddy once, but he went away when I was little. Mom says he wasn't ready to be a dad. I don't understand that because I'm right here, so it should be easy. Can you send us someone nice? Someone who will make Mom smile and help her not be so tired. Someone who will stay. Thank you, Santa. Love, Chloe. P.S. He doesn't have to be handsome, but that would be a bonus. Mom likes guys with dark hair. I heard her tell Aunt Jenny. Chloe folded the letter carefully, just like her teacher had shown them. She put it in an envelope and wrote Santa North Pole in her best handwriting. Tomorrow, she would mail it, and Santa would read it, and everything would be okay. She believed that with all her heart. 500 miles away, in a corner office overlooking Manhattan, Nathan Cole was having the worst week of his life. It wasn't the business deal that had fallen through. It wasn't the board meeting that had gone sideways. It wasn't even the holiday party his company was throwing, which he'd have to attend alone for the 3rd year in a row. It was the invitation sitting on his desk. Cream-colored, elegant, addressed in perfect calligraphy. You are cordially invited to the wedding of Jessica Monroe and Bradley Ashworth. Jessica, ... his ex-fiancée. The woman who'd left him 2 years ago for Bradley Ashworth, his former friend, his business rival, and apparently her true love. Mr. Cole? His assistant, Grace, appeared in the doorway. The mail from the charity drive came. I've sorted most of it, but there was a mix-up with some letters. Leave it on my desk. Grace hesitated. Sir, you should probably look at this one. She placed a single envelope in front of him. Small, child-sized, with Santa North Pole written in red crayon. How did this end up in our mail? The return address is Maple Grove, Connecticut. We own a property there, the old Ashford estate we're developing. The local post office must have mixed it in with our business correspondence. Nathan should have told her to forward it to the actual Santa letter program. Should have tossed it aside and gone back to his spreadsheets. Instead, he opened it. By the time he finished reading, something had cracked in his chest. Something he'd thought was permanently hardened. A little girl asking Santa for a daddy. Not for herself, for her mother. Because her mother was tired and lonely, and cried when she thought no one was listening. Nathan knew about crying when no one was listening. He'd done plenty of that in the months after Jessica left. "Grace," he said slowly, what do we know about Maple Grove? Small town, about 2 hours north. Population around 5,000. Charming downtown area. Mostly local businesses. We're converting the estate into a boutique hotel. Construction starts in spring. And this address," he pointed to the return label, 1847 Pine Street. "I can look it up." She was back in 10 minutes. "Sweet Dreams Bakery," she reported. "Owned by Mia Thompson, age 28, single mother of one daughter, age 6. The bakery has been there for 3 years. Reviews are excellent, but financially—" Grace checked her tablet. "She's behind on rent. The building is owned by a local landlord who's been trying to sell." Nathan stared at the letter. Pitiful, childish handwriting. At the P.S. about dark hair being a bonus. "Clear my schedule for Friday," he heard himself say. "Sir, I'm going to Maple Grove." Grace's eyebrows rose, but she'd worked for Nathan long enough to know when not to ask questions. "I'll arrange a car." "No, I'll drive myself." He tucked the letter into his pocket. "And Grace? Keep this between us." "Of course, sir." After she left, Nathan sat in his empty office, looking out at the city lights. He was being ridiculous. A grown man, chasing after a child's Christmas wish. There was nothing waiting for him in Maple Grove except a struggling bakery and a letter that had reached him by accident. But the thing was, Nathan didn't believe in accidents. He believed in signs, even when he pretended not to. And this letter, landing on his desk in the middle of the worst week of his year, that felt like a sign. He didn't know what he expected to find. Didn't know what he was hoping for. All he knew was that a little girl had asked Santa for a miracle. And for reasons he couldn't explain, Nathan Cole wanted to see if miracles were still possible. Maple Grove looked like a Christmas card come to life. Nathan drove slowly down Main Street, taking in the garlands wrapped around antique lampposts, the wreaths on every door, the shop windows glowing with holiday displays. Snow dusted everything like powdered sugar, and somewhere actual carolers were singing. He'd forgotten places like this existed. His world was all glass towers and business dinners and apartments that cost more than most people's houses. This was different. Sweet Dreams Bakery sat at the end of Main Street, a small storefront with a hand-painted sign and lights strung around the window. The display case visible through the glass was filled with pastries and cakes, and even from outside, Nathan could smell something incredible baking. He parked his car, a Mercedes that looked absurdly out of place among the pickup trucks and practical sedans, and sat for a moment, suddenly uncertain. What was he doing here? What was he going to say? "Hi, your daughter wrote to Santa asking for a daddy and I thought I'd audition for the role?" Insane. This was insane. He was about to turn around and drive back to the city when the bakery door burst open and a small figure came flying out. "Mr. Harrison!" Mr. Harrison. Wait. A little girl, curly blonde hair, bright pink coat, cheeks flushed from the cold, was chasing after an elderly man carrying a white box. "I forgot to put the candy cane on your wife's cake. It's her favorite part." The old man stopped, smiling as the girl caught up and carefully placed a candy cane on top of the box. "Margaret will love it. Tell her Merry Christmas. And that I hope her hip feels better." Nathan watched, frozen. Chloe. This was her. The little girl who'd written the letter. She was exactly as he'd imagined, and nothing like it. More alive, more vibrant, more real. She waved goodbye to Mr. Harrison and turned to go back inside, and stopped when she saw Nathan. For a long moment, they just looked at each other. The billionaire and the 6-year-old standing on a snowy sidewalk, each trying to figure out the other. "You look lost," Chloe said finally. "Do I? Yeah. People who aren't from here always look lost. The GPS doesn't work good in the mountains." She tilted her head. "Are you looking for the inn? It's 2 streets over. Mrs. Chen makes really good breakfast." "Actually," Nathan said, surprising himself, "I was looking for the bakery." Chloe's face lit up. "That's my mom's bakery. I can take you inside. We have the best cookies in the whole world." "That's not me bragging. That's just facts." She grabbed his hand, her tiny fingers cold even through her mittens, and pulled him toward the door. The inside of Sweet Dreams was even more magical than the outside. Warm and cozy, filled with the scent of cinnamon and vanilla, decorated with homemade ornaments and fairy lights. A handful of customers sat at small tables, enjoying coffee and pastries. And behind the counter, covered in flour and looking like she hadn't slept in days, was the most beautiful woman Nathan had ever seen. She wasn't beautiful in the way Jessica had been, polished, perfect, calculated. This woman was beautiful like a sunrise, like a warm blanket, like coming home after a long journey. Honey blonde hair escaping from a messy ponytail. Warm brown eyes that crinkled when she smiled. Flour on her nose that she clearly didn't know about. "Mommy," Chloe announced. "I found a customer." He was lost outside. The woman, Mia, Nathan remembered, looked up and froze. He knew what she was seeing. The expensive coat, the designer watch, the out-of-place rich guy in her small-town bakery. "Welcome to Sweet Dreams," she said, recovering quickly. "What can I get for you?" Nathan's mind went blank. Completely, utterly blank. "Coffee." "We have regular, decaf, various holiday flavors, whatever you recommend." Mia raised an eyebrow but turned to make his drink. Chloe tugged on his sleeve. "You should try the gingerbread latte." "It's my favorite." "Well, I don't drink coffee because I'm 6, but Mom lets me taste it sometimes and it's really good." "Gingerbread latte it is." He took a seat at a small table by the window, watching Mia work. She moved with efficient grace, clearly exhausted but pushing through. Every few seconds she'd glance at him, curiosity and wariness mixing in her expression. Chloe plopped down across from him, chin in her hands. "So," she said, "what's your name, Nathan?" "That's a good name. Are you from the city?" "You look like you're from the city." "I am. New York." "Wow." Her eyes went wide. "That's really far. Why did you come all the way here?" "I'm not entirely sure." It was the truth. Now that he was here, sitting in this warm bakery with a curious child staring at him, he had no idea what his plan was. Mia brought his latte over, along with a small plate of cookies. "On the house," she said when he reached for his wallet. "Welcome to Maple Grove. First-timers always get samples." "That's very kind." "It's good business." She smiled, and Nathan felt something shift in his chest. "If you like what you taste, you'll come back." "I think I already know I'll come back." Something flickered in her eyes, interest maybe quickly suppressed. "Well, enjoy your coffee." "Chloe, stop bothering the nice man." "I'm not bothering him. We're having a conversation." Chloe looked at Nathan for confirmation. "Right?" "Right," he agreed. "We're discussing the merits of gingerbread lattes." Mia looked between them, something softening in her face. "Fine. But let him drink his coffee in peace." She headed back to the counter, glancing over her shoulder once. Chloe leaned forward, voice dropping to a whisper. "She likes you," she said confidentially. "I can tell because she gave you extra cookies. She never gives extra cookies to people she doesn't like." Nathan looked at his plate. 3 cookies, instead of the 2 he'd seen other customers receive. "How do you know she doesn't just like my coat?" "Because Mom doesn't care about coats. She cares about people being nice." Chloe studied him with those big brown eyes. Are you nice, Nathan? I try to be. Trying is good. She nodded sagely. That's what Santa looks for. Trying. The mention of Santa hit Nathan like a punch. The letter. The reason he was here. A little girl's Christmas wish sitting in his pocket. He didn't know what to say. Didn't know how to explain that he'd come all this way because of a letter that was never meant for him. So instead, he took a sip of his latte. It was the best coffee he'd ever tasted. Nathan stayed in Maple Grove. He told himself it was for business. He did own property here, after all. The Ashford estate needed attention. There were decisions to be made about the development. But every morning he found himself at Sweet Dreams Bakery. Every afternoon, he somehow ended up helping Chloe with her homework, while Mia handled the afternoon rush. Every evening, he invented reasons not to drive back to the city. You're still here, Mia said on the fourth day, sliding into the seat across from him during a quiet moment. Don't you have a company to run? That's the advantage of being the boss. I can work from anywhere. Must be nice. It has its moments. He looked at her, really looked. The dark circles under her eyes. The way she kept rolling her shoulder like it ached. Can I ask you something? You just did. Fair enough. Can I ask you something else? She smiled despite herself. Go ahead. Why is a baker as talented as you struggling to keep a bakery open in a town that clearly loves you? The smile faded. That's a complicated question. I have time. Mia was quiet for a moment, looking out the window at the snow falling. When Chloe's father left, I had nothing. No money, no job skills, no idea how to survive. My grandmother had taught me to bake, so I took out every loan I could get and opened this place. She gestured around. It did well for a while. But then the landlord raised the rent. Then the economy dipped. Then the car broke down and Chloe got sick, and suddenly I was behind on everything. The landlord who's selling the building? You know about that? Small town. People talk. Mia laughed, but there was no humor in it. Yeah, they do. Mr. Brennan wants to retire. He's been patient, but he needs to sell, and I can't afford to buy. So come spring, whoever buys this building will probably want me out so they can put in something more profitable. What will you do? I don't know. Bake out of my apartment, maybe. Or move somewhere cheaper. She shook her head. I try not to think about it too much. Right now, all I can do is make it through the holidays. Nathan thought about the letter in his pocket, about a little girl who just wanted her mother to stop crying. What if someone bought the building and let you stay? He asked. In this economy? Who's going to do that? I might know someone. Mia stiffened. Nathan, just hypothetically. If someone bought it and offered you a fair lease, would you take it? I'm not a charity case. Did I say anything about charity? He held her gaze. You have a successful business that just needs stable ground to stand on. That's not charity. That's investment. You don't even know me. I know you make the best gingerbread latte I've ever tasted. I know your daughter is the smartest 6-year-old I've ever met. I know this whole town loves you and would fall apart without this bakery. He paused. Sometimes that's enough. Mia looked at him for a long moment. He couldn't read her expression. Gratitude and suspicion and something else mixing together. Why are you really here, Nathan? She asked quietly. And don't say business. I've been watching you. You haven't made a single call about that estate you supposedly own. He should lie. Should make up some story about property values and development opportunities. Instead, he reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn envelope. Because of this, Mia took the envelope, confusion on her face. Then she saw the address, Santa North Pole, and went pale. Where did you get this? It was in my company's mail. A mix-up. It should have gone to a charity program. But instead, He gestured at himself. It found me. Mia opened the letter, her hands shaking. As she read, tears began streaming down her face. She asked Santa for a daddy, she whispered. She asked for someone to make me stop crying. Mia, I thought I was hiding it. I thought she didn't know. Mia pressed a hand to her mouth. Oh God. My baby asked Santa for a daddy because I couldn't hold it together. You're doing an incredible job. Anyone can see that. Am I? Because my 6-year-old thinks I'm so broken that only Santa can fix it. She doesn't think you're broken. Nathan leaned forward. She thinks you're tired and lonely and working too hard. She wants someone to take care of you for once. That's not seeing you as broken. That's seeing you as someone worth helping. Mia looked at him through her tears. And what? You decided to be the answer to her Christmas wish. Billionaire rides into town to save the struggling single mom. I decided to come see who wrote a letter like that. And then I met you. And then I met Chloe. And now he took a breath. Now I can't seem to leave. Nathan, I'm not trying to buy you. I'm not trying to rescue you. I'm just trying to figure out why, for the first time in years, I feel like I'm somewhere I actually want to be. The bakery was quiet. Outside, the snow continued to fall. And Mia Thompson looked at Nathan Cole like she was seeing him for the first time. Chloe wrote a letter to Santa, she said finally. And Santa sent me a billionaire. Is that okay? A laugh escaped her, wet with tears, but genuine. Ask me in a week. I'm still processing. I can wait a week. You really want to stay? In a tiny town with nothing to do except eat cookies and help a 6-year-old with her homework. I really do. Mia shook her head, but she was smiling. Okay, she said. 1 week. But I'm not making any promises about daddies. No promises, Nathan agreed. Just possibilities. It wasn't much. It wasn't a commitment or a declaration or a happily ever after, but a beginning. And sometimes that's all a miracle needs to be. 1 week turned into 2. Nathan bought the building through an anonymous LLC, then offered Mia a lease so reasonable she nearly cried again. He told her it was business, that a thriving bakery would increase property values for the entire street. She didn't entirely believe him, but she was too relieved to argue. He also started helping around the bakery. Not because she asked, she was too proud to ask, but because Chloe needed someone to walk her to school, and the morning delivery was too heavy for Mia to carry alone, and the kitchen shelves were too high for her to reach safely. You're surprisingly handy for a billionaire, Mia said one morning, watching him fix the temperamental oven that had been giving her trouble for months. My grandfather was a mechanic. I spent every summer in his shop until I was 18. Nathan wiped his hands on a rag. Try it now. The oven hummed to life, steady and strong. Mia stared at it like it had performed a magic trick. I've been fighting that thing for 2 years. Sometimes you just need the right touch. They looked at each other, and something electric passed between them. Nathan saw Mia's cheeks flush, saw her bite her lip, saw her start to lean toward him. Mommy! I can't find my shoe. The moment shattered. Mia cleared her throat and hurried toward the sound of her daughter's voice, leaving Nathan alone in the kitchen with a fixed oven and a racing heart. Christmas was 1 week away, and Nathan had never felt less ready to leave. The townspeople had accepted him with surprising warmth. Mr. Harrison invited him to the men's coffee group. Mrs. Chen taught him her secret hot chocolate recipe. The carolers recruited him. His voice wasn't great, but they were desperate for tenors. And Chloe. Chloe had decided Nathan was her best friend. You're good at math, she informed him during homework time. And you don't make that face when I ask questions. What face? This is really simple. Why don't you get it face? Mom does it sometimes. She doesn't mean to, but I see it. Nathan thought about the executives who'd made that face at him for years. The silent judgment, the impatient sighs. He built walls to protect himself from people who made him feel stupid. Math wasn't my best subject either, he told Chloe. I had to work really hard at it. Really? Really? So I know how frustrating it can be. But I also know it gets easier with practice. Chloe beamed at him. You should be a teacher. You're way better than Mr. Peterson. I don't know about that. You could teach here. In Maple Grove. Then you wouldn't have to go back to the city. She said it casually, like it was obvious, but Nathan felt the weight of it. This little girl wanted him to stay, not just to visit, to stay. Chloe, he said carefully, I have a company in New York. I can't just... Why not? You said you can work from anywhere. It's more complicated than that. That's what grown-ups say when they don't want to do something. Chloe crossed her arms. My dad said it was complicated when he left. But he just didn't want to be my dad anymore. Nathan's heart broke. I'm not leaving because I don't want to be here, he said. I'm leaving because I live somewhere else. That doesn't mean I won't come back. Promise? Promise. But even as he said it, Nathan wondered if promises were enough. This little girl had been abandoned once by someone who'd promised to stay. How could he ask her to trust him? How could he trust himself? The answer came on Christmas Eve. The bakery was hosting its annual Christmas party, a tradition Mia had started the year she opened, where the whole town came for free cookies and hot cocoa and off-key caroling. Nathan helped set up, stringing lights and arranging tables and trying not to stare at Mia in her red dress. You clean up nice, she told him, adjusting his scarf. Very festive. I try, thank you. For everything. This month has been, she shook her head. I don't know how to describe it. Unexpected. Magical. She looked up at him, those warm brown eyes soft with something he was afraid to name. You made this Christmas magical, Nathan. For me and for Chloe. You made it magical for me, too. Nathan. She stepped closer. I need to tell you something. What? I don't want you to leave. The words hung in the air between them. Nathan's heart pounded. Mia, I know it's crazy. I know we've only known each other a few weeks. But Chloe adores you, and she took a breath. I haven't felt this way in a long time. Maybe ever. And if you drive back to New York tomorrow, I think a part of me will break. What are you asking? I'm asking you to stay. Not forever. Not for any promises. Just stay. See what this could be. Nathan looked at this woman, this incredible, hard-working, kind-hearted woman who'd built a life from nothing and was offering him a place in it. And he realized that everything he'd been searching for, the meaning he'd lost after Jessica, the connection he'd craved, the home he'd never found, was standing right in front of him. I wasn't planning to leave, he said. Mia blinked. What? I called my assistant yesterday. I'm relocating to the Connecticut office. It's a 3-hour drive to the city if I need to go in, but most of my work can be done remotely. He cupped her face in his hands. I was going to tell you tonight. I was going to ask if you minded having a billionaire cluttering up your bakery for the foreseeable future. Mia laughed, tears streaming down her face. You're staying? I'm staying. She kissed him. Right there in the middle of the bakery, with the fairy lights twinkling and the town gathering outside and a little girl watching from the kitchen doorway with the biggest smile on her face. It worked, Chloe shouted, running over. My letter worked, Santa sent him. Nathan pulled back, laughing, and scooped Chloe into his arms. Actually, he said, I think you sent me. Your letter just showed me where to go. Same thing, Chloe declared. Santa works in mysterious ways. Is that so? That's what Mom says about everything. Mysterious ways. She put her hands on his cheeks. Nathan, are you going to be my daddy? The question was so direct, so sincere, that Nathan felt his eyes sting. If your mom will let me, he said. And if you want me to be, I want it. Chloe looked at Mia. Mommy, can he be my daddy? Please. Mia laughed through her tears, wrapping her arms around both of them. I think, she said, that's exactly what Santa had in mind. The Christmas party was the best Maple Grove had ever seen. Maybe it was the extra decorations Nathan had secretly funded. Maybe it was the live band he'd hired from the city. Maybe it was the simple fact that love was in the air and everyone could feel it. Chloe played with the other children, showing off her new daddy to anyone who would listen. Mia greeted guests with a smile that hadn't left her face all evening. And Nathan stood in the middle of the chaos, feeling more at home than he ever had in his Manhattan penthouse. You look happy, Grace said. He turned to find his assistant, who had somehow ended up invited to the party, watching him with a knowing smile. What are you doing here? You told me to clear your schedule indefinitely. I decided to see what was so important. She looked around the bakery. I understand now. Grace, I've worked for you for 6 years, Nathan. I've seen you close deals worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I've never seen you smile like this. She squeezed his arm. Whatever you're doing here, keep doing it. I plan to. Good. Also, the board called. They're concerned about your relocation plans. They can be concerned. They're threatening a vote of no confidence. Let them. Nathan shrugged. I own the majority stake. They can vote all they want. Nothing changes unless I say so. Grace laughed. That's the Nathan Cole I know. Still ruthless, just happier. Is that a bad thing? Not at all, sir. Not at all. She disappeared into the crowd, and Nathan went looking for his girls. He found them by the Christmas tree, the massive one the town had erected in the bakery's front window. Maya holding Chloe up to place the star on top. Almost. Chloe stretched her little arms as far as they could go. I can't reach. Here. Here! Shh. Nathan came up behind them, lifting Chloe higher. Try now. With a triumphant cry, Chloe placed the star. The tree lit up completely, all its lights blazing, and the crowd broke into applause. I did it! Chloe shouted. We did it. We make a good team, Mia said, leaning against Nathan. The best team. They stood there together, watching the lights twinkle, surrounded by a town that had become family. Nathan thought about the letter in his pocket. He still carried it everywhere, and marveled at how a child's Christmas wish had changed everything. Hey, Nathan! Chloe tugged on his sleeve. Yeah, Munchkin? Remember when I asked if you were nice? I remember. I decided you're the nicest. She grinned up at him. Even nicer than Santa.T. Don't tell him I said that. Your secret's safe with me. Also, she lowered her voice to a whisper. Next year, I'm gonna ask Santa for a brother or sister. Just so you know. Chloe. Mia's face went red. We talked about this. I'm just planting seeds. Chloe protested. That's what Mrs. Johnson says. You have to plant seeds early if you want them to grow. Nathan laughed, pulling both of them close. One thing at a time, Munchkin. Let's get through this Christmas first. Fine, you. But I'm putting it on my list. You do that. Midnight came and went. The party wound down. Guests departed with hugs and well wishes, taking leftover cookies and warm memories with them. Finally, it was just the three of them. Chloe had fallen asleep on the bakery couch, exhausted from the excitement. Nathan carried her upstairs to the apartment while Mia turned off the lights and locked up. I can't believe this is real, Mia said when Nathan came back down. A month ago, I was terrified of losing everything. Now, Now you have a slightly used billionaire cluttering up your bakery. I was going to say, now I have hope. But, sure, that too. Nathan pulled her close, swaying gently to music that wasn't playing. I have something for you, he said. A Christmas present. Nathan, you've already given me so much. This is different. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. It's not a ring. That would be crazy. We've known each other a month. Then what is it? He opened the box. Inside was a key, old-fashioned brass attached to a ribbon. It's the key to the building. Your building? I transferred the deed yesterday. Sweet Dreams Bakery officially belongs to you. Mia stared at the key. Nathan, I can't. This is too much. It's not enough. He pressed the key into her hand. You built something incredible here. You deserve to own it. Not rent it. Not worry about it. Own it. I'll pay you back. No. Nathan, Mia. He tilted her chin up so she was looking at him. This isn't charity. This isn't me trying to rescue you. This is me wanting to give you security because you deserve it. Because Chloe deserves it. Because for the first time in my life, I have money that actually means something. Let me use it for something good. Tears streamed down her face, but she was smiling. You're impossible, she whispered. I prefer determined. Same thing. She kissed him, slow and sweet, the key pressed between their palms like a promise. Merry Christmas, Nathan Cole. Merry Christmas, Mia Thompson. Outside, the snow began to fall again. Inside, two people who'd lost hope found it in each other. And upstairs, a little girl dreamed of brothers and sisters and a daddy who stayed. The letter had asked for a miracle. Miracles, it turned out, came in all shapes and sizes. Sometimes they came in expensive suits with guarded hearts. Sometimes they came in flour-dusted aprons with brave smiles. And sometimes, just sometimes, they came wrapped in crayon and addressed to the North Pole. 1 year later, Chloe Thompson, soon to be Chloe Cole, sat at her desk, chewing on her crayon thoughtfully. A lot had changed since last Christmas. Her mom smiled all the time now. The bakery was bigger, with a new cafe section and employees who called Chloe boss as a joke. And Nathan was there every morning and every night, reading her stories and helping with homework and being the dad she'd always wanted. They were getting married in the spring. Chloe was going to be the flower girl. She had very strong opinions about the flowers. But right now, she had another letter to write. Dear Santa, she wrote carefully. My name is Chloe. I am 7 now. Last year I asked you for a daddy and you sent me Nathan. Thank you very much. He is the best daddy ever. This year I have a different wish. Mom and Nathan are getting married, which means I will have a real family. But our family feels small. I think we need more people. Could you please send us a baby? I would be a very good big sister. I already practiced on my friend Lucy's baby brother and I only dropped him once, and it wasn't very far. I know babies take a long time, so it's okay if you need to start working on it now. Thank you, Santa. Love, Chloe. P.S. A girl baby would be nice, but a boy's okay too. Nathan says he doesn't care as long as it has 10 fingers and 10 toes. I don't know why that matters, but grown-ups are weird. She folded the letter carefully and put it in an envelope. Then she had a thought. Last year her letter had accidentally gone to Nathan, and that had worked out pretty well. Maybe this year she should skip the North Pole entirely. Chloe crept downstairs, where Nathan was helping her mom close up the bakery. They were laughing about something, the way they always did now, and Chloe felt that warm feeling in her chest that she'd come to recognize as happiness. Nathan, she said, can I give you something? He turned, that big smile on his face. What have you got, Munchkin? She handed him the envelope. "It's for Santa. But I thought maybe you could deliver it, since you did such a good job last time." Nathan looked at the envelope, then at Chloe, then at Maya, who looked curious. "Should I open it now, if you want?" He did. He read it silently, his expression changing from confusion to surprise to something soft and emotional. "Chloe," he said quietly, "this is a big wish." "I know. That's why I'm asking early." Mia had come over to read over his shoulder. Her hand flew to her mouth. "A baby?" she asked, looking at Chloe. "You want us to have a baby? I want to be a big sister." Chloe crossed her arms. "And I think you guys would be good at making babies. You're already good at being parents." Nathan and Mia exchanged a look, the kind of look grown-ups shared when they were having a conversation without words. "Well," Nathan said slowly, "as it happens, Santa might already be working on that one." Chloe's eyes went wide. "Really? Really?" Mia crouched down, taking Chloe's hands. "We were going to tell you on Christmas, but Nathan and I are having a baby. You're going to be a big sister." "I knew it!" Chloe shrieked, jumping up and down. "I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! Santa is real and he listens." She threw herself at them, and they caught her, and suddenly they were all hugging and crying and laughing. "This is the best Christmas ever," Chloe declared. "Even better than last year. Better than getting a daddy?" Nathan asked. "Getting a daddy was a miracle. Getting a baby is a bonus miracle." She grinned. "I'm going to tell everyone at school that Santa gave me a baby. Maybe we phrase it differently." Mia started. "Santa gave me a baby," Chloe shouted, already running toward the door. "Chloe, it's 10 degrees outside." But she was gone, a blur of curly blonde hair and unbridled joy, spreading the news to anyone who would listen. Nathan and Mia stood in the bakery, watching their daughter through the window as she announced her sister-to-be to the entire town. "I love you," Mia said. "I love you too. I can't believe this is our life." Nathan thought about the letter that had started everything. A child's Christmas wish, sent to the wrong address, finding exactly the right person. "Believe it," he said, pulling her close, "because it's only going to get better from here." And it did. In spring they got married, a small ceremony in the bakery garden, with the whole town in attendance. In summer, they welcomed their son, Daniel Nathan Cole, while Chloe watched with the solemnity of a surgeon and immediately declared him adequate. In fall, Sweet Dreams Bakery expanded again, becoming a beloved destination that attracted visitors from across the state. And in winter, every winter, they gathered around the Christmas tree and told the story of how it all began. "Tell it again," Daniel would beg when he was old enough to understand. "Tell about the letter," Chloe would add, even though she'd heard it 100 times. And Nathan would pull out the worn envelope, the one he still kept in his pocket, and read the words that had changed everything. "Dear Santa, I don't want to ease this year. I just want a daddy for my mommy." The letter had been meant for the North Pole. Instead, it found a lonely billionaire in a corner office, a man who had everything except the one thing that mattered. It found him, and it brought him home. Some people don't believe in Christmas miracles, but in a small bakery in Maple Grove, Connecticut, they knew the truth. Miracles happen every day. You just have to know where to look. The end.